And with that, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Claudia Pohlink. She's already next to me. A big applause for her. Claudia is the chief expert in data at Deutsche Bahn. She's already here in red. It's the sign again. She's a chairwoman of the Bitkom board in the group of AI. And last week, she turned the 40 over 40 1 week ago of our German's most inspiring women. Can you imagine that? And now she's here, and she is the expert to connect businesses and data science, and therefore she will now speak about data science in AI. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you very much. So, it's really nice being on stage live again, and a special thanks goes to Veronica and Fabian for made this extraordinary conference happen. Yeah, it feels a bit weird because now you talk to real people. I'm not used to it the last 2 years, so maybe it excuses some of my vocal mistakes. Let's see. This speech will be about data-centric AI, and here's a teaser. It will be a low-code presentation, yeah? So you will not see any algorithms or code. And this topic is inspired by Andrew Ng. Maybe most of you know him. He's the founder of Google Brain, Coursera, and also Landing AI, and he's also one of my most AI influencers I read and follow. Yeah. And he held a presentation, I think around 1 year ago, about ML ops. And he highlighted how important it is for companies to focus on data instead of the models and algorithms. And I also observed that in my previous and also recent jobs in bigger companies like Telekom and Deutsche Bahn. So you see AI POCs, and they are very sexy, and most of the people are really interested in, but when it comes to data, like data management, governance, ETL, like extract, transform, load, things like that, I think the attention is quickly gone. Yeah. So it's very hard also to keep or to get and keep AI projects up and running. So what is the reason for that? Yeah. So that's why I would like to start with the current state of AI implementations, and I think Fabian also mentioned that in his first speech. Here you see the recent evolution towards machine learning, yeah, and we say now we are in this trendy AI area because of the ABC. ABC stands for algorithms, big data, and computational power. I think most of you know in the last years, there are a lot of models and technologies up and running and have been developed also in the past years, like AlphaGo, GPT-3 and all that stuff. I think you know that, yeah? But you see this rise of AI exact in the last, let's say, 10 years, yeah? And when we have a look at big data, not only the volume, but also the technologies, there you see there is a lot ongoing. Yeah, the volume is increasing a lot. Yeah, I don't need to explain that. I know you know that. And then we have the computation, let's say exponential growth of the computational power. But what happened in the area of data management? Yeah, including preparation and data quality and all that stuff. I would say not that much. And when we look on research and practice, then there's a huge deviation of focus between theory and practice. Yeah, in research, nearly 99% of recently published papers focus on improving performance by changing the model, and only 1% in research deal with improving performance by addressing the data itself. There's a clash. Yeah, so this doesn't reflect the reality. Yeah, when it comes to the practice, By the way, Andrew Ng compared that to cooking. I really like that picture. So in the most of the AI application or in the use cases where up to 80% of the effort is focused on data preparation. And I know this discussion because this number went up or came up, I think, in 2014 in the New York Times. They told us the data scientists have 80% to do with data preparation and only 20% with, let's say, screwing models and data itself. We can discuss about the number, but I would say let us agree it is maybe around 60 or 70%. And then also, preparation doesn't only mean cleaning. It also means that you have to go through the whole company, finding data sources, asking people, convincing people that you are allowed to use the data and all that stuff. So there are a lot of processes out there, and it takes time, a lot of time. Yeah, in bigger companies we speak about 6 months, 12 months. Yeah, so this is not really effective. And this is the fundament for efficient AI. This is basically what nourishes the algorithm. Yeah, so just imagine that you need so much time to find the data, and then it's the wrong data. Then you have this whole story from the beginning on, again and again and again. Yeah. And just to show you how this clash is also here in the room, so please raise up your hands who is working on AI. All right. And who's working on data governance? Okay, this is good. Good answer. Yeah. But normally, I would say less people. Yeah. Okay. I told about the gap. What are the consequences of this gap? And normally it is about resources, money, and time. But it is not always about, let's say, bad consequences. Yeah? There's also potential for improvement, of course. Yeah, on the left-hand side, this is just a chart about the complexity. Yeah? We have more data, we have more parameters, we have, let's say, large models, yeah? Language models, and of course, you know, the complexity is increasing. And then, on the other hand, the performance is suffering. This is clear. Yeah. I found 2 quotes, which I really would like to read. The first one is from Gartner. Every year, poor data quality costs organizations an average around $13 million. And the second quote is from India. It is about the comparison of data engineers and data scientists. So the demand has begun to outpace the demand for data scientists, 2 to 1. O'Reilly says 4 to 1 or even 5 to 1. So if you want to set up a new project, you need 5 data engineers and 1 data scientist. This is something what is in the reality. Yeah? And then Andrew Ng, he did a study in his AI community. And this study showed that addressing the data could improve much more than just screwing this model or changing or adjusting the model. So there is unused potential in the data. And also in regarding to performance. Yeah? And then if quality is good, less data is needed. And just imagine bigger companies, they can process a lot of data. But if you have smaller companies, they have to calculate because it costs a lot if you have a lot of data to process. Yeah. And then don't look only on the data, there's this ecosystem which I mentioned, the processes, yeah? So the regulations, the law, and so on, which you also have in bigger companies. So addressing data does not only refer to data quality, but also the surrounding ecosystem and processes. So is data-centric AI now the new answer? I'm not sure, but we in Deutsche Bahn, we try to tackle this, let's say, topic, this challenge. What is data-centric AI? And just, if you are interested in this topic, go on landing.ai. There's a very good overview. And also listen to this presentation from Andrew Ng, because it's very interesting. Yeah. Simply said, AI is code plus data. Yeah, and data-centric AI is for the performance, for a better performance, and the focus should be on data consistency and quality. Here's one example with trains. Let's have a look at this data labeling process. On the left-hand side, you see the current state. Yeah? So you see two pictures, and if you draw, or if people draw a bounding frame around the trains, there are multiple answers possible. You see that. And the data-centric approach would like to focus on data quality, which means you have to be more precise, and you have to set up structured rules. Yeah? So which means this picture is only possible in one way, and you have to prepare that before. Yeah? So data-centric AI is the discipline of systematically engineering the data used to build an AI system. This slide is from a Gartner summit in April this year, and you see they're also dealing with that topic. What needs to happen? And just to give you an overview, the traditional data management has to deal with more topics than just data, and also the other way around. Yeah? So call it data-centric AI, you can also call it AI-centric data. The topics have to be connected. And I mean AI data labeling, AI data enrichment, and also things like scientific, I need my glasses. So, I don't know the right word, but you can read it. So there's another quote. Yeah? Through 2025, 80% of organizations seeking to scale digital business will fail because they do not take a modern approach to data and analytics governance. So you can look around and you see you have to focus more on the data itself. And now I would like to give you a short overview of our Data Intelligence Center, so our journey with data in Deutsche Bahn, or at Deutsche Bahn. The Data Intelligence Center was established 3 years ago at the headquarters. So we have 3 houses. The House of Data, which I am responsible for. The House of AI, where you can also meet my colleague today here, Thomas Thiele. He is the leader of the House of AI. And then we have the House of 3C, which stands for Community, Change, and Communication. And you also see here the 3 different tasks. The House of Data is responsible for making data visible and available. We work very closely together with our business units to also extract their demands on data. And the House of AI is for pushing AI with using and also enabling use cases, machine learning use cases together with the business units. So to make data also usable. And then we have the responsibility of House of 3C. They are responsible for making this whole effort sustainable, because you can do a lot of machine learning POCs, but you need to implement them sustainably. Yeah? And we would say this is the journey you should also go when you have a bigger company, and this is the heart of our data journey, and of course the goal is to support Deutsche Bahn to be more data-driven. How does that work in reality? I will be very honest with you. We are not perfect. Yeah? So there is a lot of pressure of time, of course, and then you need to interact between these 3 houses. But we are in one department in the Data Intelligence Center, and we have the chance to meet, let's say, monthly or quarterly, where we update ourselves, each other. So we talk about our AI projects and the let's say, challenges and learnings and put the challenges and learnings together or to the other house of the data. So they can ask us, I have some problems with getting access to a specific kind of data. Please, house of data, help me. And we are responsible, for instance, for the data catalog. So we can try to figure out what is necessary to put this specific data in our data catalog, that it's visible, that it's accessible, and so on. Yeah? So we really try to work very close. We are not at the end, of course, but I would say it is a good beginning. Here you see our, let's say, timeline for the last 3 years, especially when it comes to House of Data. So as I said, 3 years ago, the Data Intelligence Center was established. The data and also AI strategy is together and is derived, of course, from the group strategy and the digital strategy. In 2020, we established a decentralized CDO organization, Chief Digital Organization. That means we have different data officers in every business unit. Data officers, not only the office, but also the role data officer. We are trying to establish now new roles like a data steward, a data owner, and so on. Then there was a really nice decision at the board of directors in Deutsche Bahn, because in 2020 they adopted a resolution. It is called KVB in German, Konzernvorstandsbeschluss. It is the resolution for boards. And they said, it is about added value from data and AI. They decided that data is accessible at the whole company. You don't need to ask, you can get access everywhere, every time. Except there is a specific kind of data which has to be, let's say, more sensitive, where we have to take care of it. Then just the owner of the data has to find reasons why it is not accessible. So they turned it the other way around, which I really like this approach. Because this is, let's say, a new, a modern thinking. Data is for everyone. Yeah. And then, of course, you have a lot of things to do to make this happen. So that's why we established the data catalog. We set up new rules. So we try to support the data offices that they are able to find the data owner. So therefore, you need guidelines. So just a few days ago, we published a new guideline to put them in a better position. Yeah? And also, we have to think from the customer side. And our customer is the business unit, so we have to explain them why the data catalog is so important and what their benefit is from the data catalog. Not only putting the data in the catalog, but also getting new data, other data. So it's like a solidarity thinking. Yeah? Very hard, because the people don't have that culture yet. Yeah? So you have also to take your change people with you, that they help you and support you with explaining and also convincing people. Yeah. This is also a chart which I really like. This is from our data catalog supplier, from Betelligent, because it describes the journey. And you see the many milestones on the data journey, when it comes to data. Yeah? So you have 2 roads are getting into one road. On the hill, you have the DRM process. On the right-hand side, you have the data catalog. On the left-hand side, the business part, the business glossary. You come to this one road. I would say we are right now between data protection and data contracting, in theory, not in reality yet, but we established the foundation for that. But then it comes to data quality, and this is a large or a huge need for the business units. Yeah? So a data catalog is also just a tool. This catalog can support the business units to make the quality more visible, and maybe also to find out what are the reasons where I can screw a bit more a specific variable. Yeah? This is our roadmap for this year. So we have 3, let's say, pillars or streams. Data catalog, this is our main focus this year. Yeah, so we got also a new technology behind, so we are now changing from one to another one. I think we are very early with that, because nobody changed already the technology behind the data catalog, so it's also new for a new supplier. But here it's very important to make the data transparent through a central corporate data catalog. And the definition of done, yeah, so in my view, data seekers experience added value through the catalog and are happy to come back again, which is really hard. Yeah. And the second and the third one is about data governance, the rules, establishing the organization, setting up the roles, which I already mentioned. And here, I think it's more important to establish the guidelines, yeah, to implement all that stuff we created in theory and to turn that into the reality. And the third one is about architecture and, of course, about this new approach about data mesh, which I really like, but this is not a topic for today, maybe next time. So here is the definition of done, that our data management platform, DMP, is aligned with the customers, our customers, and offers a solution and access to valuable maintenance data. Yeah, not customer data, but maintenance data. This is also what I would like to emphasize. This is the value chain when it comes to models, AI models, because the foundation is management, data management, yeah, to gather, govern, and manage data. Then it comes to tools and processes, yeah, to improve the processes from the acquisition, labeling, up to the data preparation. Then we can talk about data quality for the entire life cycle, for instance. And then the sexy AI is starting, yeah? Model development and also, of course, improving the performance. The really important message is there is a foundation and this is much, much bigger. And there are the potential or the opportunities, yeah? So the conclusion, yeah, I think you all got my let's say, message. New models and new architectures generate major headlines and breakthroughs in research, but rarely reach practice. And I worked in the research lab at Telecom, so I know that research is just the practice in 5 to 10 years. So when I see now there's so less about data management, I do have some fears. Yeah? So the challenge of AI in practice does not lie in the models or model architectures, but predominantly in the data. In real use cases, almost every application must deal with completely new data. This is also a topic. Yeah, when you finish one project, you have to go to the next one and you need new data. And the story starts again. So maybe the solution could be data-centric AI. And here's a short outlook. On the left-hand side, you see a Bitkom publication about machine learning trends in 2022. Maybe you want to have a look on it. There's also a small part about data-centric AI. And then again, Gartner, they said by 2024, organizations that lack a sustainable data and analytics operationalization, that was my tongue twister today, operationalization framework, will have their initiatives set back up to 2 years. So my recommendation is don't tap in this fail of AI, of sexy AI, face the data and put more effort in this whole process before. So thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you. That was really interesting. Maybe we also have one question from our online audience. So they asked, who's the best contact person for collaboration with you?
So I am available via LinkedIn, so let's talk there.
Yeah, really
Or
good.
do you mean in the company?
I guess in the company was...
In the company.
Yeah.
So of course, I have to listen to my customers because I can set up these nice things like a data catalog, but the users of this data catalog are the data owner, the data user, and also the data provider. And I have to speak with them, or I get into a dialogue with them very often so that I am building something what they can use. Yeah, so it should be also accepted. Yeah, this is of course one of my most people or the contact persons I have to deal with.
All right, and I have also written something down because as I saw your 40 over 40 post on LinkedIn, I saw also some learnings you earned in the years, and I wanted to know which one was your favorite.
Yeah, so I studied data science, I think for 5 or 4 years ago, and then I turned into the AI field and headed a department of AI for 3 years. And I realized there's so much new knowledge out there. Yeah, so I even started to establish quantum computing for Deutsche Telekom. So I had to learn so much. So my best advice would be learning, 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 like a machine.
Who agrees with learning, learning, learning? Yeah. Is there any question in the room? Yes. David. he's from Deloitte. I asked him to ask a question.
And I'm American, so I don't need this. I speak loudly.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was the term I used on my slides, synthetic data. This is really a good approach, I think, yeah, because you can store synthetic data for years without having all these rule problems, yeah. So in telecom, we started this approach, I think, in 2015 or 16, and tried to turn the real data into synthetic data, which was really complicated because when you have telecommunication data, then you have longitude and latitude, you know that, and then also the timestamps, which is really hard to put that or to keep the real information in the data. But I think this would be the future, yeah, because you can store it anywhere, anyhow, and as long as you keep the real information, yeah. So, and if you want to exchange between departments, it's easier to have synthetic data. It could be like samples. Yeah, I really like that. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Is there another?
Are we over time?
But you can also talk afterwards. You are still here, I think, and then you can all go into conversation with Claudia. Thank you so much for being here. Big applause.